Yo, what up, Street Dogs? Eric Kim. So, not to stir no sort of ruckus or riot or to make anyone scared, but this is my thought. When is the next big, really big, bad, worser kind of catastrophe gonna happen? I think, okay, if there's one thing I learned from COVID, it's that black swans exist, and in a world of globalization, specialization, supply chain management, consultants, blah blah, it seems actually society right now, the way we know it, is actually extremely fragile. Meaning, if there's at least let me speak for America, our healthcare system cannot survive this massive influx of cases, testing. Even right now, like, it's difficult to give birth and stuff like that at hospitals because they're not beds. And so it looks like our hyper-optimized efficiency society, it's seriously backlashing against us right now, and it's a proof that we need more redundancy, buffer, space, and slackness and inefficiencies to make the whole system better. So for example, have you ever wondered why the humans, we got 2 eyes, 2 kidneys, 2 lungs, 2 arms, 2 legs? It's certainly advantageous from an evolutionary perspective, is that, if we lost one of our limbs or one of our eyeballs or whatever, we still have a redundant spare part built into us, so at least we could still survive. And I think the problem with hospitals and stuff is that they always work at near kind of max capacity. You don't want to hire too many workers because, there's gonna be times when people are just gonna be hanging around not doing nothing, and you still gotta pay them, whatever. But in periods of like these extreme crises, like right now, they're over capacity. There's actually not enough capacity to handle everything. And so even like companies who work on very thin margins and have no money in the bank, or they don't have a war chest, they're seriously getting fucked right now, and they might probably all go out of business because there was not enough room for redundancy and buffer. And so, I mean, some just basic thoughts for us as individuals, like, obviously, I don't want to say this obviously, but it's good for us to live like poverty, simulated poverty mentality, like essentially live in like starving college kid mode. And actually I'm lucky because I did grow up poor, is that like I know what it feels like to get by on very little, and it's actually not that big of a deal. And I actually think this is why people like to go camping, is that when you go camping, obviously stuff in nature is way shittier than it is at home, so you just kind of intentionally enjoy the suffering for a few days or a night or whatever. So when you go back to your cozy house, you're so much more grateful for the coziness. And so I think we just need to add redundancy and buffer to everything in life. So financial redundancy and buffer, have a lot of money in the bank stowed away, live extreme frugality, like essentially live like a really poor person. Also some notions, and it's so funny too, because like people say, oh, hoarding is so bad, but right now if you're gonna stockpile on food, seems like kind of a smart idea, because like even within my short time here, they've done simple things like, first people are, going all crazy and buying tons of food, right? But now they're only limiting a certain amount of people in the grocery store, so lines are a lot longer and stuff like that. So in some ways, hoarding is kind of useful. I was actually thinking, I'm like, yo, can you imagine all the people who Marie Kondoed their ways out of their homes and went uber minimalist? They're probably hurting real bad right now. And so yeah, like, contrary to what people say about being efficient, time management, planning, blah blah, it looks like it's all pretty false. So just from a knowledge perspective, I think the more we could think about randomness, chance, chaos, and realizing that in fact that's what the world is about, and the less efficient we can make society, the more redundant, the more buffer we add, the better. So just like some basic thoughts about like our lives. When in doubt, just remember it's gonna take longer than it is. So like even people are like, oh, this whole COVID thing will be done in like a few weeks or a few months or whatever, right? Yo, I think like my thought is, I think this might go on for the next like 2 to 3 years. And you know, obviously I can't predict none, but generally crises or good things and bad things happen longer than they think that we will. Like for example, you know, why is it always good to get extra early to an airport? Because generally, you know, there's traffic or there's long lines in TSA, whatever. So as a consequence, a lot of people end up getting screwed because they didn't add enough buffer time. So even like, you know, I always try to arrive at appointments like 30 minutes to an hour early. And generally what happens is I'll show up right on time because, you know, there's some sort of stupid traffic or parking situation that was kind of difficult to get in. So like even right now that we're going through this COVID thing right now, expect it to last a lot longer than we expect it to. Or other things too, like if you know you're trying to have kids, it'll probably take longer than you think it will. Or you know, with money, finances, and resources, try to be cheaper than you normally are, because humans, we tend to be a little bit wasteful with our resources and also with our lives. You know, let's not take our health and our lives for granted. You know, most likely we're not going to live as long as we think we will, nor will we remain healthy as long as we will. So yeah, don't put off anything off until tomorrow that you really care about. Exercise caution and judgment in your everyday lives. Remain extremely skeptical, and in some ways take a stoic perspective of expecting the worst, but not doing it in some sort of like, you know, kind of, also nice, huh? Look at these guys. Right, even right now that the world is going to shit, looks like nature is still enjoying herself. But anyways, so yeah, essentially with society, with life and stuff like that, always imagine and think about buffer. Expect the worst, but take the stoic mentality that like, even if the worst happens, you're gonna be strong enough to prepare for it. Humans are pretty resilient, we're pretty robust, we're quite anti-fragile, as Nassim Taleb says. That what tries to kill us actually ends up being the stimulus to make us stronger. So be strong, know that you're stronger than you think you are, and the worst is yet to come.